Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Guys, I'll bet a lot of you don't remember this, but back in the early 90s, Prince came out with a racket that was so powerful, or deemed so powerful, that it could take on God. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Stay tuned. All right, guys. So speaking of my savior's here. What's up, Elliot?
How are you guys?
How's the season going for you?
It's picking up. I tell you, it's getting busier and busier every day.
Back to beating God in tennis. So there was a bunch of rackets that came out that Prince deemed as too powerful, that, you can literally be a superpower. Okay, it was something like this. I don't have the actual racket, but it was a super oversized, longer racket, and it was a cool commercial out. I don't know if I can link it here, but if I can, I will. It basically went like this. If you were God and you were playing tennis, this would be your racket because you were perfect on the court. But since you're not God, you have the big ass racket to compete with God himself. Right? So they showed a rally, right, with a regular dude like this. Right, this guy, and then God comes out with the little racket, and the guy smokes a forehand past him, and then God turns around and flips his robe, and the guy just kind of keels over. So I told my buddy Dan about it. I was like, God's Racket. They actually marketed God's Racket. Prince did back in the day. It actually went on closeout. I didn't buy them. Nobody bought them back then because they're like, yeah, that's a gimmick. Nobody can play with that thing. So I was like, man, I should have gotten my hands on one of those God rackets. But my man Dan, the mad tennis scientist, made me one. So this is actually made out of burl wood. So it's actually a solid burl wood racket with graphite. Yes, graphite. Graphite strips overlaying the whole thing to stiffen it up. It's actually super strong. You guys probably don't know what burl wood is, but it's actually a really, really, really strong wood that's actually really, really light. So, and I was like, man, I kept saying that to Dan, and Dan said, he walked in with this and said, here's God's racket for you. So he actually found the specs of that original racket and made it to spec. So it's actually a long racket, a real racket length, not like the training aid. So you can see that it's actually 27 inches because this Gamma racket is 29 inches. All right, so let's actually spec this out because I'm kind of excited right now about the whole thing. This thing's really light. It's supposed to be like in the 9-ounce range from what I remember. Yeah, 9.3. That's even strung with a leather grip. What's 263. It's gonna be really headlight. Whoa. Wow. It's coming off the table here. Ooh. That's with the lead tape on the top to balance it out. It's 20, 270, 278. It's really light, really headlight. At the RDC machine, I don't know how much swing weight this is going to have. 209. Whew. There's nothing coming through. This is like tennis elbow waiting to happen here. All right, so since God's perfect, especially on the court, he doesn't need a head-heavy racket, nor a lot of swing weight, or a big sweet spot. Let's try it, guys. What do you say? But here's the interesting thing. Not only did Dan make me God's racket, he made me the devil's racket. So we cheated a little bit here. We made the head a little bit bigger. We made it a little longer. So it's a little longer, as you can see. We got horns on it. Okay? Sorry, guys. Here we go. So we're going to cheat a little bit on this one. Okay? Now we even have a tail on it. Okay? So Dan's super creative, as you can see. What do you say we hit with these? Probably not for very long because elbow might fall off on this. Let's see who's out there. Maybe Goo is around to try it out. I'm gonna take the big one too. I'm gonna do all this. Okay? All right. See you on the court. All right, so we're on the court. Got my man Coach Goo here. He's wondering what the hell I'm holding.
Yeah.
So I got the devil's racket here. I got God's racket here. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay, guys, so looks like the God Racket didn't hold up. Sorry, Dan. I guess we
You didn't even get to try it.
I didn't get to try it. So, Coach Goo, how hard was that?
Pretty hard. Pretty hard. I think I had a little more success rate with the spoon, but pretty hard to hit the sweet spot. As you can tell, I cracked it pretty bad. When I hit it if I tried to hit it right on the dot, it actually felt okay, but it just didn't feel comfortable. if you guys know, the smaller head, when it hits, it just feels weird. It feels like it sticks on, but it only shoots out. It can't go with spin, because if you hit it with spin, that's what happens. You hit the frame and it doesn't really carry on anything. So
I mean, as accurate as you are,
it's pretty hard.
It's hard to hit this.
Especially with my grip. My grip is pretty hard to hit with this thing.
Yeah, and I never got to try it, but I did get to try the Devil Racket, which I actually connected a couple times.
I connected too. Yeah, a few too.
So that was a lot easier.
This is a lot easier compared to that. I don't know. Maybe this is some type of carbon fiber. I have no idea. But yeah, this is definitely a lot easier to hit with. As you can tell, bigger head. Devil Racket, even though it's still kind of hard to hit. It was still pretty good to use, though. I mean, compared to the God Racket, this is a lot easier.
Yep. So Dan, this one's still around, and I would say this is more of a success here for us. God, you just have to be too perfect, and obviously we weren't
perfect.
You weren't perfect enough to keep it around. So I'm sure Dan the man is gonna try it again, because that's what he does. All right, so I want to thank my man Coach Goo here for hanging out with me today and trying out the God and the Devil rackets that my man Dan made. Coach Goo, where can we find you?
Find me at God Tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
All right. Shout out to Dan the man here, Dan the tennis man. I'm sure he's going to have a lot more for us to try. And I love these attempts, and I love his creativity.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.